Merry meet, Fiber Magicians.
Yes, merry meet, everyone. Now let me just get my thing to record.
Welcome to our third. Which is
Coffee
Talk. And I'm going to be making one of these little butterflies while we're talking.
Yes. So hello, everyone. I am the Moon or Spiritual Moon Online.
And I am Opal Luna of Fiber Magic.
And today you're making those beautiful butterflies.
Yeah, I'm going to be at Summer Magic Fest in Orlando, June 8th through the 12th, I believe. And then, the main ritual is going to be the four quarters are going to be represented by an endangered Florida species. So I did sea turtle last time we were here.
Yes.
And now I'm doing butterfly. And then next time I'll show you bat. And then panther will be the fourth one.
Yes. Awesome. Fantastic. So, we just had Beltane.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was so much fun. And we do have the workshops recorded and uploaded for everyone to see.
They were very good workshops. Goodness, I really enjoyed the one about Lilith.
Yes.
That Dandelion did. You know, because I don't know enough about the Jewish mystics that I should.
Yes.
Or that I would like to. Yeah.
Awesome.
So we start out with a basic cone. Start out with 8 half double crochets. And like I said, this pattern is going to be in my pattern shop at fibermagic.com this afternoon. I'm halfway done with it. So, yeah. Once you get up, you increase until you have 12 rows, and the 13th row you decrease every other stitch around. So it's starting to make a little neck like this. All right.
I know the other day at work, I had to sew the some of the toys back together. That
Doggy toys.
Doggy toys that Miss Unka has decided to have fun with.
Oh, that's always fun.
Oh, yes. And I put extra squeakers into the toys.
Oh, they like that.
Oh, she absolutely loves it.
Now you can make any of these little patterns for a doggy toy. It's not going to last a real long time. It's better for cat toys because you can fill them with catnip. And they really enjoy them. And you get some really good videos of them playing with the butterfly.
I know last night you made a turtle.
I did. I made a turtle. It's the same basic design as the turtle I made here last time, but just simpler, a little smaller, simpler, and I didn't stuff the body. So I left the back of it open. I'm going to put a little button so you can put a bag of catnip in there as the stuffing.
Nice.
I'll have that up on the website too eventually. I went around with a row of single crochets for the neck, and now I'm going to increase again 2 half doubles in each stitch around to come out for the head.
Yes. I know this upcoming month we're going to be pretty busy.
Yeah, I'm going to be. I'm definitely going to be busy with with Summer Magic Fest. But in the Grove, we've also got in the month of June, we've got the Hurricane Protection Ritual.
Yes.
And then Summer Magic Fest, and then the week we come back, we're going to have a Litha celebration, which will be something different, just for fun. We'll record the ritual and put it on the website and on the YouTube. But it's all about things that spin, because we're talking about having a summer ritual outside, and it's so hot. We need fans, we need this, we need that, we need all things that spin. So like we're gonna have pinwheels in the east and those poi things in the south.
Yes.
And we'll have tops in the north. And those spray bottles that spray a mist through a fan in the west.
Oh, nice.
Everybody's going to want to be west.
Yeah. Oh, can we do west? And I was like, oh, we know why. Because it's hot.
But that should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a lot of fun.
Because I know every single time that we do the Witches Coffee Talk recently,
Uh-huh.
I always love enjoying looking out to the backyard and seeing the birds on the chairs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we should turn a camera around one of these days.
Let's make sure Logan's not on his prowl. We do not need another frog incident.
Oh, yeah. The other night when we went out there to ritual, Logan was like caught like a deer in the headlights. And like, what do you got there? And this huge, well, it's not, seemed huge at the time because it was jumping at me, but like a frog about that big came leaping out of his paws.
And here's me going to get the frog to like get it off to the side. And Logan's like, I want my frog.
Save a frog!
Save a
I was
frog.
like, no, that's my toy.
I was like, Logan, you can't take this inside.
He was heading for the door. Glad you stopped him. My goodness. I think this butterfly is going to have a little bigger head because I increased every stitch for some reason instead of every other stitch. But you know what? Nature is like that. So.
I have been noticing, because I do walk the dogs and stuff, that there's not been a lot of butterflies this year.
Yeah, there was more last year. I wonder why that is. Too much spraying, probably.
Yeah.
That's a culprit.
Because typically, Thunder, who is no longer with us, she used to go chase butterflies. So I have like an awesome image of her like chasing a butterfly. And she'll just like chase them for hours and just have fun with the butterflies. It was so adorably cute.
We have a few back there. That's why I like having the yard that we do. We keep a lot of natural, native plants and wildflowers and things that they enjoy. Birds and butterflies. And I haven't seen a lot of dragonflies lately. I used to see more in our backyard. I haven't seen a lot. But we had some torrential rains, and maybe they washed the eggs
Yes.
away.
There's been a lot of flooding, the historical flooding in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. So.
But I'm really excited that we finally get to do the first ritual for the year and the day for the husband of Phoenix.
Yes. Yeah, he's been waiting a long time because he didn't want to do it without his wife. And she was very ill. But now, knock on wood, everything seems to be going well. And he will have his year in a day. And the very next week, I believe he's doing the presentation.
Plants.
Plants,
Yes.
yes.
I know this upcoming Friday it's going to be the hearth with amethyst part
Yeah.
1.
Yeah, she's gonna have 3 parts to her Kitchen Witch series. She'll start at the hearth, of course.
Yes.
I like that.
And also the 24th of May, we have our meet and greet in Hollywood at the Social Room.
I've never been there. I'm looking forward to checking that place out. I like the last place.
Oh, the
A
arcade
lot.
place was
Yeah.
fantastic. Everyone had a great time there. So we're going to actually put that into rotation of like one of the locations to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And also the parking's not bad either.
Right.
That's the main thing. Like the restaurant is big enough, or the place is big enough, but also to make sure there's parking.
Mm-hmm. All right, before I forget, I'm putting the eyes on. Sometimes I forget to put the eyes. You got to put the eyes before you close the head up. But how many times have I done that? And then I have
Yes.
to open the head back up.
Yes.
You can also embroider eyes on too if you're really
Mhm.
worried about it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a bigger head. But hey,
Mhm.
who cares?
Also, this past Friday, you did the monthly birthday cake.
I did.
It was so phenomenal because how you did the moons with the Oreos.
Oreo cookie moon phases. Google it. You'll be surprised. And a little trick of the trade, when I first thought about it, I thought I would, you separate the cookie like you used to when you were a kid, when you ate the white part first. And,
Yes.
and then I tried to break the cookie like in half, the half that didn't have the cream on it, and put it back on there. But that is difficult to break a cookie in a moon phase.
Yes.
What is easier is if you just use the part with the frosting on it, and then just with the knife scoop it off. This way you can get crescents.
Yes. Awesome.
So that's, it's a little tip if you want to make moon phases out of Oreos.
Absolutely.
It was an Oreo cake, and it was gluten-free.
It was so delicious.
And I one of our members who has a birthday this month, Saturday as a matter of fact,
Yes.
she loves Oreos, and she was so excited when they started making gluten-free Oreos. But she still can't get Oreo ice cream because, the store-bought has regular Oreos in it. So I took vanilla ice cream, and I crumbled up the Oreos, and I just smushed them in there just like they do at Cold Stone.
Yeah, like.
Yep. And it worked quite well. So it had chocolate cake, Oreo ice cream, frosting, and then moon phases on top. It was pretty cool.
It was fantastic. And that was one of the first, few only cakes I've seen Panda completely eat, besides his birthday cake.
Yeah. Well, his cake, I knew he liked pumpkin pie.
Yes.
So he had a pie cakein'.
By kicking.
And rumor has it that next month, somebody's birthday is next month.
Yes. I wonder who that be. Oh,
I don't know. And their favorite flavor is what? Liver and onions? Is that right?
No, but I do like liver and onions.
But
not for a cake. Not for a cake. Oh, my favorite one. I have two favorite ones.
Okay.
I have red velvet or German chocolate.
Yes. Even your wedding cake was chocolate.
Yes. The top half. I made the mistake of letting the soon-to-be husband pick the flavor of the cake. And guess what he chose? Vanilla. Vanilla.
I said, Panda, you can have any flavor you want. And he thinks about it. Vanilla. Oh, okay. Exotic. So it was half vanilla and half.
Yes. Half chocolate. I can't believe this month we have our first year anniversary.
Oh, man.
I look, it's where did this year go?
That is unbelievable.
I was like, what all did we do in this year? I was like, I did not expect this bingo card of my husband said the house on fire to be filled so quickly.
Bingo!
So yes, if you are using incense of any type and you have a cardboard cat scratcher, make sure it's nowhere near the altar.
Absolutely. That's a good tip.
Yes. And we have a new name for him, Char Bear.
Char Bear.
Or I call him Squirtle.
Okay, describe the picture of him putting out the fire.
So it's 6:30 in the morning, and I'm like, waking up because he's making a whole bunch of noise in the morning, like he always does to get ready to work. So he does his morning devotion to Boss. And then he's like, what's that smell? That doesn't smell like incense. He goes around the corner and he's like, oh, that's not incense. And here I, in bed, like at 6:30 in the morning, rolling out of bed. I come around the corner and he has his Teenage Ninja Turtle mutant socks on with his jeans, his overall straps. And he's like crouched down with the kitty cat squirt bottle trying to put out the fire. And I come over and I get something to actually smother and like stomp down the fire. And then I have to take the cat scratcher itself and put it into the tub and drown it because it was burning from the inside because it was cardboard. It's like panda.
Panda. My butterfly needs a little mouth.
Yes.
I'm going to do it just like I did the turtle.
Awesome.
It's also a good stressopus mouth, too.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is.
It's a little smiley face.
I know one of the topics we're going to talk about with this Witches Coffee Talk is our goddesses and deities that we worship.
Yes. Would you like me to go first?
You can go first.
Oh, my Minerva. That's my goddess. And I found her while researching my roots. I am a firm believer that no one needs to appropriate anybody else's culture, because if you find out where your grandparents or great-grandparents, if you can, were born, and you go back far enough, you're going to find indigenous people, because everybody was indigenous.
Yes.
It's only 1,000 years, because at that time, with no electricity, no modern medicine, people had to rely on the plants and animals that were around them, right? And so that's their magic. Folk medicine, folk magic goes hand in hand. And when you find that, then you can find what's really part of you,
Yes.
like in your ancestors. This way, if you're working with ancestors or ancestor memories or past life progression, whatever, then you're in the right neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So I got 2 neighborhoods on my mother's side. They're from Poplar Bluff, Missouri, and they've been in that area since before the Revolutionary War. So before that, it was probably Scotland. So that's got that Celtic roots, right? And I mean, America's only 200 years old, or 250 or whatever it is. It's not that old. You have to go back to where you came from.
Yes.
Right. So on my father's side, I'm very much closer. His mother was born in the Tuscany area of Italy. So if I go back far enough there, I have the Etruscan people who worshipped a triad, Tana, Uni, and Minerva. Minerva is one of the originals, and she has survived to this day, through the Roman Empire, kind of messed with the Greeks a little bit, but still she is the goddess of wisdom and creativity, to the point that modern universities use her as a mascot. So, of course, with the work that I do, she's got to be my go-to. So, that's me.
That's you.
I'm going to put some antennas on this thing.
Yes. Me, I'm a little bit more complicated.
I like to keep it simple.
So, with me, I am Native, but I'm also multiracial. And I do a lot of the indigenous practices that my grandmother taught me that's closed. But I also am a devotee to Santissima, Santa Muerte. But I also do work with another goddess, Hecate. And Hecate I've worked with since I was 18. And I've always felt more comfortable with her. And then when I started to be able to unpack the trauma of being indigenous and able to connect to my roots and be able to process what happened, I got more into my spirituality with my native side of my of my culture. And Santissima Muerte, she's a blend of Catholic and indigenous practices. When I did discover her and did find her, after I saw her as a little child with my grandmother at one of her clients' house, I finally oh, there she is. So I mainly work with Santissima, my ancestors, and Hecate.
Cool. For your second year celebration, you did the ritual was to Santissima, and that was very, very moving, very powerful. I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to your third year, so you write the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Third year is going to be a lot of honoring and showing her much love, and it's going to be a fiesta for her to celebrate.
Now, every year the Grove allows me in sometime in March to do a rededication of my craft room to Minerva. Even one year I did Imbolc as the Quinta Terra, the 5-day festival that they would have in ancient Rome for the spring. And the first day was dedicated to Minerva, and then the next 4 days were dedicated to Bacchus and Mars, and and they would have the gladiatorial. But that first day that was Minerva's was all about poetry. There was no bloodshed, and that's why even though, because of the Greek influence and the goddess Athena, some people look at Minerva as a goddess of war. I do not. Protection, yes. Strategy, yes. But not the battle itself, like Mars or something like that. So that's my Minerva, is really the original one.
Awesome. And when I started to really work and dedicated a lot of my time with Santissima, I did a lot of it in private because there is such a misunderstanding of her. Because social media and the news portrays her as something very dark and evil, and she's not that.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, you have to look past and actually do your research. If you think something's really, really bad, figure out why. And then maybe it's because it's being vilified, because she's constantly is vilified by the Catholic Church. Because the Catholic Church hates her.
Well, Catholic Church is not too crazy about strong women in general. And a lot of people fear death so much. I think that has a lot to do with it too. It's people's fear that make her the villain. It's just like the Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper didn't kill you.
No.
Grim Reaper's trying to lead you to your next adventure.
Sure.
Right?
And that's what she is. That's one of her aspects, is when the indigenous culture and the Catholic culture blended in a way that, they kept to be able to practice in secret. It's the same way that ATRs were created as well.
ATRs?
African traditional religions. Like Voodoo, Palo, 21 Division.
Well, like I said, you go back far enough, we're all indigenous. Somewhere. Find your roots.
Yes.
Find your roots.
Absolutely.
And connect with your ancestors. I'm going to be doing a class in November, around the 1st of November, with the school, the Bruja Power Coven School.
Nice.
I'm going to do another one of those. I did my Not Magic class last year. This year I'm going to do honoring the ancestors through crafting.
Yes.
Because the things like crocheting and sewing and knitting, we use them as hobbies now. They were once necessities.
Yes.
You did not survive the winter if you did not have enough quilts made.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a good way to connect, especially with your female ancestors, because a lot of it was considered women's work. But we know that men can crochet too. There's actually whole pages on Instagram and Facebook, men who crochet. That's a great site.
Nice.
It really is. Okay. All right, let me catch up on what I did here. So I finished the body and head, right? And I made antenna by cutting a length and putting it through the head, and then chaining, cutting it off. And then I made another chain and I appliqued it to the belly, because I call these my goddess flutterbys. Because right now, it's like it's the same kind of shape as the goddess poppet. So, goddess flutterbys.
Yes.
He's got a rounder head. He's still cute.
He's still cute. He's still cute.
All right. Well, all I have to do is make another wing. And that will be attached to the back. Here I go.
There you go. But no, going through a lot of decolonizing your practices too. You have to make sure you're actually practicing the true traditional aspects, because sometimes there are authors that will blend closed practices with open practices, and you don't want to call something that you can't get rid of.
True. Very true. Do your homework.
Yes. Because one of the main things I do educate people about is about white sage. And I tell them, it's if you don't know how to use it and you haven't been shown by an indigenous person of Turtle Island how to use it, you are playing with fire. Because not only does it clear, it takes everything back to zero, but it can also call in native spirits and native ancestors, and depends on your ancestry, it might not be a friendly combination.
Oh. Yeah, it kind of makes you want to look at your ancestry a little closer and see who you are dealing with, you may have to make some amends
Yeah.
before you can use certain things.
Yeah.
Or, like I do, go back to your own roots. Rosemary and mugwort or black sage works just as well.
And there's like 700 to 900 different species of sage. So white sage you don't have to use all the time.
Right.
But the way that white sage is being used and being harvested, it's to the point that it's going to make the plant extinct. Because when they do harvest it illegally, they destroy the bush so bad it doesn't reproduce. It actually dies off. So it actually damages the environment when you have illegal poaching of the white sage. And typically a lot of the places that do grow the white sage are nature preserves and the reservations. And you'll see people who are illegal immigrants being used to do that work because it's a way they can get around the system. The people who are trying to make a profit and using a labor source that's much cheaper, and it's not fair to the worker because the worker's putting themselves into extreme danger by doing that. And it's also not fair to the consumers and stuff either, because now you're can easily drive up the price. And you also are hurting indigenous tribes that cannot even say if they want to grow it and sell it to make their own profit.
Right.
Or use it in their sacred ceremonies. They can't because it's being overconsumed.
That's a good reason to not use
Yes.
anything to an extreme,
Yes.
you know? And if you use something that grows near you, you can plant your own. That's always a good idea.
Yes.
Basil, rosemary, mugwort grow like weeds.
Yes.
Because they are weeds.
Dandelions. They're great for heart health.
I'm reading a book right now. I'm gonna when I finish it, I want to loan it to you. It's called something about weeds. Anyway, it's really good because it talks about indigenous plants, native plants, and also invasive plants.
Yes.
You know, a lot of weeds are invasive. The rule of take a little, leave a lot doesn't apply to invasive plants.
No.
You can use as much as you want. If you find an invasive plant that you can use, if it's edible or you use it in your magic, use it. Go for it.
Like kudzu. Kudzu is great if you want something to be spread very fast, oppressive, and smothering. Because it grows so fast, it smothers big, huge living trees. Because the tree can't get light.
You could just see it hanging off. And the author mentions kudzu, and she's up in Martha's Vineyard, so it's all the way up into Massachusetts now.
It's like I grew up in South Carolina around the Charlotte area, and during the summertime, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Wow.
But I remember being in the Carolinas growing up as a kid, and my grandmother bought a piece of property that had 2 apple trees on it, a black cherry tree and a pecan tree. And then on the edge of the property in the woods, there was this bush of brambles of blackberries. And my grandmother used to do a garden every single year, and she used to can stuff. So I'm very much of the old school of preserving what we have, being mindful, living in balance with the earth. And I remember the fig tree that she planted right behind the garage that came from my great grandmother's house, and it was a little twig, and it grew into a huge bush.
Nice. Speaking of apples, you mentioned apples.
Yes.
In this book, it mentions Johnny Appleseed, who who, we grow up in school learning that he was just a national treasure, and he made it possible to have all these plants that cured the diseases. They cured the diseases that the Europeans brought with them, and they killed out the native plants that were used for things that happen here. Fennel, not only apples, but he's the reason why we have fennel in this country, and mustard, garlic mustard, and a couple of other things that you just can't get rid of once it gets going. So he started a lot of stuff. So you really have to know what you're doing when you do things like that. And if you use those invasive plants, use them up and dispose of their seeds properly.
Yes.
Because you could just be spreading it around like Johnny Appleseed.
Absolutely.
Try to be the opposite of Johnny Appleseed.
Because I know, like, down here in Florida, there's, like, invasive species down here, too.
Yes.
That's tropical based.
There's a Virginia creeper that we constantly have to cut off the fence outside. That'll just, it'll just cover all the trees. It'll just be hanging all over it. And then they won't be able to get the light.
Yeah.
Iguanas too.
Yes, iguanas too. Yes, it's true. In Florida, when it gets really cold, we have fallen iguanas.
They fall. Watch out.
I must tell you the story of the iguana that my boss froze. Because then she gave it to one of the yard maintenance people because they love them. So there's this female iguana that has been by the front gate, and she's been trying to get rid of it because it's not friendly to dogs or to humans. So when it got really cold and I was going through and checking the fence for holes and stuff, I came across her. And I told my boss, and my boss calls me. She's like, yada, yada, yada. Like, I was like, meet me at the side door. It's like, I have no idea what she's talking about. And I showed her where it was. We went and got her gloves, and she got the female out of the tree. So here, me and her are going to put it into the freezer with the lawnmower guy. And we come into the house, and her husband has the look of horror on his face.
Oh no!
He's like, what is that? And he said it in Russian. And I understood the words. I was like, oh, he's horrified.
It's so funny how people are afraid of, it goes along with snakes, lizards, snakes, any kind of creepy thing. I see it. But they're...
Birch is definitely scared of spiders.
Spiders, yeah.
I'm definitely scared of snakes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't want to come up on anything like that, but I'm not... I don't have a phobia.
Yeah. But I'm good if they're like in cages and I don't have to touch them. It's when they're out in the wild, and it's because my sister threw a snake at me.
Oh, jeez.
When I was a kid.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, no snakes ever. And it was a water moccasin. Ugh. Of course, a poisonous one. I was like, yeah, no, I'm done.
All right, so now you just put your nice little wingy.
Oh, nice.
And that's how it's going to look.
Oh.
She's sweet.
She's very sweet. Beautiful colors.
Yeah, I like the colors that change, but not too quickly. This one's nice because even though the colors change quickly, it's in the same family for a while.
Yes.
Now this one changes not very quickly at all, and it's just like weird, like brown shows up and green shows up. So you can play with it and use up some of that novelty yarn that you not sure what to do with it.
Okay. I gave you a whole bunch of yarn too.
Yes, that's gone.
Yes. I was like, these are odd colors. I bet she'll like them. Because I got Like when my mom passed away, they just got put into my car. Like there were things that went into my car I did not argue with. I was like, "You're going to put in my car. I'm not going to argue with you about it. It's not that important. I know someone that will use it."
Oh, and here's a tip, because that yarn, you could tell that someone in the house was a smoker.
Yes.
So what I did was I wound it on my yarn winder to make it into cakes, and I held a fabric softener sheet, and I went through, and then I did it again. I did 3 times, and 3 times a charm.
Yes.
And that's also a good way to infuse your yarn with your intention before you start crocheting.
Yes.
So in this case, my intention was to get the cigarette smoke.
Yes. Yes, my mom was a cigarette smoker, even though she had major health issues. So the moral of the story, please don't smoke.
Yeah,
not
I'm
worth
so
it.
glad that Carl and I quit 20 years ago. I feel better. I used to always do everything till my next cigarette. You know, it's like it rules your life.
Yes.
Now I just do whatever I want.
I know, like when I gave you the bag, I had multiple dry sheets in there.
Yes, you did.
I was like, "Here you go." I'm so sorry for the smell.
No, that was a good start. You did a good start on that. Those dryer sheets are great.
Yeah.
And if you get the mesh bags, you can put the yarn with the dryer sheet in there and actually put it in the dryer and heat it up that way without tangling, you know?
Yeah.
You got to be very careful, though, that you don't tangle the yarn.
Yes, absolutely. All right, I think we are done today.
Yes.
Yes, so...
Butterflies.
Butterfly. So if you want to follow us, I'm Spiritual Moon on to YouTube.
I'm Fiber Magic on YouTube.
And if you want to follow the Grove, it's Abilina's Grove on YouTube, Clapper, and Instagram.
Yes, I'm on Clapper, Instagram, Facebook, and fibermagic.com. Just Google Fiber Magic.
Yep.
Your machine will blow up.
Yep. So everyone have a good one, and bye.
Bye-bye. That was a good one. Oh, that was 42 minutes. Okay. We're getting about right.
Yeah.